Um, have you? Yeah. So just going over how to run. Can you hear me? Okay. I don't think you can hear. Can you hear me at all? Yeah, you can hear me perfect. Counted. 1, 2, 3. All right, perfect. Um, yeah, everything okay. I feel like I'm just learning a little bit how OBS works, and it's embarrassing me in front of everyone. And also very happy about the monitor that's on, so I can hear myself double. Okay, not anymore. Cool. Okay, let's get to business. Otherwise, I'm just boring you all. Um, Hope you're having a good evening so far. So let's just quickly go through the changes in the deck, and then yeah, let's just go to the runs because that's what it's all about. So last time I really just bought into this deck, which is like a budget version, doesn't have any cards, has ponders, which are kind of lost here but never bad to have. And what I did, I just added another land, and I really needed that ensnaring bridge. So if we go to the version that I changed to, added one more ancient tomb, going up to 18 lands, and adding the ensnaring bridge. As you can see, it's still a very silly version of the deck because it has, for example, this loose grindstone here, which doesn't make any sense. And actually, I'm still kind of, I'm way too skeptical about this probably, but in the end, the best reason I think to go green, all in all, is Sylvan Library. I mean, I think you could just, instead of Okos, just have Karns and be very happy. Just make sure you have a little bit more stable or explosive mana base for that. And then you could still go wild. But really, the best thing in green is Sylvan Library. Then Veil Summer is way too situational. Not really that great, actually. And they're great for the sideboard, but that's kind of it, to be honest. Um, so yeah, nothing much of change, and you still, of course, have the two lines of diamond. Still have the bolt as a citadel. That thing just stays a beauty. It's I keep having plays with it, things that I thought I wouldn't want. In essence, this is a little bit like my, microscintillatus in a very convoluted way that I could sometimes just get out in turn two. This is still very stupid. Anyway, let's just get on to the games. Let's see, prayers. Painter able to name a color for veil must be relevant at least once, though. Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword where there's a lot of decks playing green now. There are so many decks playing green right now that I'm even scared to play to call out blue or even black. Um, you know, just like that. It's very very difficult to just call it if you can't immediately go off. Just say blue. You don't know if you can immediately go off, and in a turn or in 2 turns, you're gonna bite you in the butt. So that's actually pretty difficult. So I end up. I mean, I think I see a lot of painters do this. Say if you have a veil in your hand, you might want to call blue. If you have a blast in your hand, you probably will call blue. Otherwise, just call white. You know, just don't even worry about it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's now more important than ever, really. Let's see. I think this is where I started. So let's head off. Yeah, and thanks for the question. Just keep throwing out questions. That's what this is all about. You guys having a drink? You guys just chilling out? Nothing big going on? Oh, what the hell. So let's see what we have here. So this is of course one of those things that can happen with the Citadel. Usually it's not that bad, and that's mainly because of Brainstorm. So that's the silly thing, right? Brainstorm makes inconsistent cards way better. And I could say like this next, I don't know how long we'll be here, but this time is really an ode to Brainstorm because it's so bizarrely good. But this is actually a hand that I would doubt whether I would want to keep it. At least you're on the draw, so maybe right, not everybody is in the evening. So let's just see if we can get through a game then, at least before your lunch is over, so you can then just enjoy it. Let's see. So this is, I'm not sure if I should keep this. I sadly did. Because the thing is, you go in the draw, you get an extra card, you at least have a turn one play. Yeah, this is something that I actually do pretty often now, just to try it out to see where it goes. So definitely if you're on the draw, you can just play a land, play a card that they don't care about, like an Astrolabe or a Grindstone, and then next turn, if you still didn't draw a land, play a main phase Brainstorm. I know that is something that is terrible, but you have very little people who actually counter that Brainstorm. But the people who do know what they're doing, so probably that is way too tricky and shouldn't really do that. Alright, and this guy should definitely take my Brainstorm. There we go. And this should have been the big punishment. They don't even get this. Okay, so now the Grindstone isn't the Grindstone isn't going to do much, so we're just going to put in the Welder in play and at least get the Summoning Sickness off and see what we get then. Okay, so so we're definitely playing against some kind of depths. Alright, and now you just know that this is going to be a very short game. Got quickly punished for keeping that bad hand. Yes, the hand was completely unable to cast Astrolabe, and it shouldn't have kept that. Honestly, if I was able to cast that Astrolabe, probably would have kept it. But yeah, this is just a beautiful example of, you know, how people should be punished for keeping bad hands. So let's go on to the next one. So first of all, we know what they play, so that's Turbo Death. So as we can see there, Turbo Death means that actually Citadel is going to be very slow. We need to be a lot faster. What we did is we got in the 2 Veil of Summer. We took out 2 Astrolabes, and we let's see, we also took out a Pyroblast. That's kind of a difficult one because Pyroblast is actually pretty helpful against if you have the Painter in play, right? So if you have the Painter in play and they would copy their Dark Depths, then you first let the Thespian stage resolve, then they need to choose which legendary land to keep. They choose the stage, and that's the moment when the trigger goes onto the stack of the Thespian stage now being a Dark Depths without counters, and that's when you Pyroblast it. I did take it out also in favor of 2 Echoing Truths because that's just way less situational, and I felt like I really needed my creatures anyway to be able to go quickly through my deck of the Welder and the Engineers. So let's see where that takes us. blisteringly fast, yeah. Alright, so this is way better of a hand. I love this hand. Right, we could immediately draw a card, have something, have an artifact in play to start getting something with engineer, and for example, we could also get the ensnaring bridge, of which we have 2 in the deck now. Okay, so this is a beautiful hand. Look at that. In Sylvan Library, definitely matchups like this is really amazing, because essentially it is just, draw 2 cards, lose 4 life in the worst case scenario. But you don't really care about life, because they either kill you completely dead in one go, or they don't do much. Okay, so this is starting to make us feel very comfortable. Okay, so now the question is, would you guys get Goblin Engineer in play, or would you get Sylvan Library in play? What would be the better choice here? So think about it like this. So they just played an Urborg. Next turn they could play, let's see, next turn they could play another land Mox, probably not. They could crop rotate. They're not going to have anything next turn. So here you could at least tap out. At least you could tap out. Now, what would you tap out for? Would you tap out for an engineer? What would you get with engineer? You don't have any combo piece right now. So what would you do with engineer? Get an ensnaring bridge? Well, that's a lot of wasted resources for getting that bridge, right? Because you get rid of your astrolabe, you kind of want that astrolabe. And you have 2 echoing truths. So would you really need the ensnaring bridge right now? That would just sit there, right? So I actually think that a better one would be library. I've actually got 2 bridges in the deck. But then library would be a lot better, because that would completely expand our options. Hopefully I did that. Okay. Right, bridge just sits there. And library is slow because it takes a turn, but after that it's really amazing. Alright, just imagine we had played engineer. Whew. Yeah, echoing truth is amazing, man. it's really, really beautiful. Okay, so he calls grindstone. I don't really care about that, because he isn't doing anything right now. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, look at this. This is beautiful, because we have brainstorm and we have engineer. So with brainstorm we can see a couple of extra we can shuffle the cards away that we see with library we don't want. With engineer, when brainstorm the same, with engineer we can shuffle these cards away. So this is really, really nice. And I'm just taking the damage here, because I don't care about the life, as I said. Okay, so I'm just going to shuffle away that one, and then what are we going to get? So actually I don't think I should get I really don't think I should get ensnaring bridge here, because you still have the 2 echoing truths. He's still not going to do anything, right? So I might just get an astrolabe here or something like that, to just start drawing more cards. Let's get the bridge. I mean, one astrolabe can already draw you a lot of cards, but that's at least the kind of direction that you can think about in this situation, right? It's all about what are they going to do? Well, not much right now. Now this is the moment when they actually could start making a token, but they clearly don't have anything, and just showing this apparently made it too much for them. But I really think it's this. I really think that the Sylvan Library causes them to just say, okay, this is not going to happen. It's such a strong card. Alright. Yeah, for me, Prez, for me it's going to be difficult getting back into Shortcake. Definitely. Alright. So what do we have right here? So we have a turn 1 Emery, if necessary, and we have Brainstorms. And now, of course, it's also very interesting that you could cast Brainstorm before Emery, so you can actually get rid of a couple of bad cards. So it really depends on the situation, of course, whether that is necessary, but it's at least something that you could do. Hold up, I'm actually surprised. Why didn't I keep that? How awake was I? Okay, let's actually think about this. So we have Turbo Deaths. Okay. Yeah. Brainstorm does kind of ruin you on non-blue. Yeah. So here I think I was looking for something more aggressive. But actually this wouldn't be such a bad hand to keep, but you're still playing against Turbo Deaths. So I'm actually not sure if this was such a bad hand to have kept. Still have a turn 1 Emery. So this is potentially this is not such an amazing hand. This is not so much better than the other hand, really, but because still you need to fetch before you do the Brainstorm. You can still, I'm not sure if the last one should have been thrown away. At least we do have some redundancy with the Welders. I'm surprised that they didn't take the Emery though, because that combination with Brainstorm is really good. Alright. Maybe that's why they took the Welder. Okay. It's fine. Brainstorm is the most powerful card in Legacy, right? At least, right? At least what they did right now, they only have 3 cards left in their hand. They kind of played on this idea of me maybe having only one go-to card, right? And the rest being fluff. That's fair, really, that's fair. But then you see this, and as long as they don't do crazy things, like the same kind of thing next turn, I can interrupt their combo and then play an Oko afterwards. This is bonkers. So we don't need to Oko yet, we're not going to shuffle anything. And we don't need the, we can't even cast a Pyroblast yet. I was getting kind of nervous about even more discard, but doesn't really matter, I need to choose anyway. I feel like the Astrolabe is what I would have taken with Thoughtseize, makes your hand mana awkward. Definitely, that's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, I still would have the Vista, but yeah, they need to choose. I think they were just really banking on this idea of I'm gonna rip the entire hand apart, and you're just gonna sit there with one Astrolabe or something like that. But that's a very good point, yeah. sometimes taking the astrolabe is good, or even countering the astrolabes. It's crazy times. Alright. Okay, this is good. Now, of course, I need to think about the astrolabe, right? So, make sure that I have Pyroblast open. I guess here I could have attacked. No, that would have been a bad idea because they can the crop rotation and then just get the Dark Depths in play, tap it with Urborg, and then just get the token. So there they go. Yeah. And of course the old trick, double Wasteland. Let's do it. Wouldn't have helped. And here Oko is nothing more than just a, you know, scare factor. It wouldn't have mattered whether it was Oko or Karn or whatever kind of card there. But that is something I do like a lot about this this version of the deck, where we have welders, we have engineers, we have emeries, and try to tear my hand apart, try to bolt every one of them. But I'm going to have one of them stick, or multiple of them stick. Alright, so that's 1-0. Against Depths. And of course hands like this can also happen. Not a keep. Let's see, this is a lot better. I mean, every time I see welder and I see engineer, I think like, oh, let me please do it. Please let me get Citadel. So here, again, right, even when you look at this is a bit of deceptively difficult or easy, I don't know which one it is, hand, right? So what would you do? You want to have Brainstorm and Fetch. You want to have turn 1 welder. So what is more important, having the turn 1 welder and then turn 2 engineer, or having the fetch with the Brainstorm? You don't want to get Brainstorm locked. So here I went for the welder and engineer. Like, I can see from their play if I should go slow, so keep the Pyroblast as a backup to protect them, or if I should go fast, if I'm able to go fast. Of course, Brainstorm is really good to find that artifact, but Engineer is also a shuffle effect, right? So in that sense, probably best to just get rid of the island, so you have your options open, so you can at least go with your plan that you have right in front of you. Alright, blue. Well, here goes nothing. At least it's a creature, right? Now, this is not the worst. Kinda sucks, but it's not the worst. That would be an interesting thing too. When you see they play island, immediately say stop everything. I'm going to wait and see what they do, and wait and make sure that I have the Pyroblast up or not. I would rather play the welder because you still have the engineer, and I do want to make sure that they also slow down. That's the thing too, right? If they play the days, they also slow down. Wow. Did not expect that. I think that made my life a lot easier just now. what did they show? True Name Nemesis. Slow beater, perfect. So now let's actually do the brainstorm. Because I don't care about my life total until it's at 0. Alright. This is fine. The good thing is I can cast Engineer twice. I have my artifact, perfect. Alright. And even have counter backup. So let's go. And the beautiful thing is that push comes to shove, you could always throw the Pyroblast at it. Of course, it's not ideally what you want to do, but now, and since they're Merfolk, they have counters, and if they let this resolve, then we should be fine. No bounce, as far as I remember in Merfolk. Please, yes, perfect. Play dumb beaters. And still have backup. Oh wait, we didn't have backup there, but that's okay. What are they gonna do being tapped out? Nothing at all. I think this is actually maybe my second game ever against Merfolk. I've never really played against Merfolk. Alright, so since they are still a pretty fast deck, I did take out Astrolabes, and since I cannot use my own life total either, I threw in Sylvan Library. I did put in the Veil of Summers. I'm not very sure if that was the best idea, but I just want to make sure that the very little resources that they may have to disrupt me, that I can just push through that, right? Because in essence, their deck is pretty linear. It is like bad infect. That's I kind of see it like that. It's like a bad infect deck that's just way slower. Still has some disruption, but not nearly as much. So of course we keep in the Pyroblast, we put in the Ensnaring Bridges, and then we'll see where we go from there. Alright, so I think this is a beautiful hand against them, because ideally we can just play it out. Alright. Now here, hopefully I did not just go turn one grindstone. So that's just asking for trouble. So even though that one is a little bit annoying, it's still just a 1/1. Sure, that's a pretty good card. This is beautiful, so much redundancy. Or this gives us some breathing space against any kind of counters. And now we can just slowly build it up. So this is an interesting one. I don't really have that much else, or what? This is what they showed off of the Adept. So here you don't even need to play the Oko. Just go straight for Painter. Of course. Now this is one of those situations, no actually it's not one of those situations here. you probably shouldn't even call blue because of this card. Still can pay for the Curse Catcher. Alright, this is an interesting one. Okay, so days. We pay for days, then they counter it anyway. Do we want to get rid of our petal? So essentially it's like petal now turns into a kill Curse Catcher. Sacrifice petal, kill Curse Catcher. Kill a 1/1 and get rid of this thing. Is that helpful here? No, not really, because it's got redundancy. I don't really care about that thing. I'd rather have some mana open for whatever happens, and this also enables me to play Oko if I really need to, so I'm just gonna let this one go. And funny thing is, my life total is going down. Just not as hard as with Infect, that will be the case. Alright, so here, 2 cards in hand. Let's see. Yeah, 2 cards in hand, still has the Lord of Atlantis in hand. So that could be, it could be a Force of Will. 8, so that would be 2. If so, say for example, they have the Force of Will, they don't have this one, they can't play that next turn, so there would be 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I really need to have something in the turn after. But the good thing is I can just play Painter, play Oko, and still go off. Arguably, should have played Oko here first, because if they would counter something, they will probably counter Oko. Not knowing that my other card is Painter, because Painter would immediately kill them off. So probably should play Oko here first. There we go. Yeah. Because Painter just kills them straight out. Misplays. So I went through that a little bit fast. Okay, so he's not even attacking anymore. And now it is all on my terms. He got rid of the Lord of Atlantis, 1 card in hand. We're in top deck mode, and I've got Oko. So it's not like the decision was a game-breaking one right now, but even if it wasn't the best one, but this just really means we're drawing out the game, and he just has another Force of Will, and still it doesn't really matter. I feel like if this was Infect, we'll be gone. Yeah. So specifically that play with the stack with Force of Will, Pyroblast and Days, and then having the Curse Catcher still in play, that was an interesting one. Otherwise, it kind of bled out, but still got there. Alright. On to the next one. 2-0. Let's go. Okay. Turn 1 Welder, potentially turn 2 Painter, not really necessary, but having the Oko and being able to start welding if we get something, at least with the Seat and the Servant, looks good. This was a very tricky play, of course. And I also thought about that when I took the Taiga. Actually thought about that for a long time, since you want to be able to play the Oko. Is it going to be greedy? Are we going to expect a wasteland? And then how bad is it? So it's not amazing, because it just means that we cannot play out the Oko, still have the painter, and then just have lands. At least it will set them back a little bit as well. But this is actually a situation where this could have fucked us up early. And maybe it still does. Now, all in all, you could also see it like this, right? We are playing to win. Like, not to cast such a shade on the play. So we're playing to win, right? If this was a mountain, then, and it had survived, then okay, maybe we could have cast, I guess a Pyroblast, we could have cast another Welder if we drew that, we could have cast Engineer, but then that's also where it kind of stops, right? So otherwise then it would just be a land, and it would be nice to have a land, but it also would just be a land. We do have a lot of mana, so in that sense, what really does it cost out? If the upside is that you can keep the Taiga and then at least be able to play an Oko out, that is actually pretty big. It's more like a play to win kind of scenario, I'd like to say. Alright, so they don't have anything right now. They could counter Painter with a Force of Will, but then I would love to have them counter right now the useless Servant in this moment of the game, and then I can play out the Oko next turn. Goes through. White, because right, we don't have any blasts. Okay, so it's not Delver. There we go. And I made an error here. So let's see if you can catch it. So this game, I played out a Petal and played Oko. I sacrificed the Petal that was already in play. So here I thought, okay, I want to go attack, go aggressive, because I just have one card in my hand. They have 7. Just go for it. This Petal isn't gonna do anything for me. And big misplay there. Would have been 3 extra damage. And now, ideally, we see Oko being decayed. Those are things that you should expect. I'm almost happy that it happened. No need to play out the tomb. Alright. I still cannot really gauge whether a deck is this deck or not. And the same with Doomsday. I always think Doomsday is a different deck. This gets me confused. But this is potentially a bit bad now, because our clock slowed down a ton. We can attack but don't really do a lot of damage anymore. Brainstorm is beautiful. Can get locked, of course. Now, thing is, right, Brainstorm just shows you 3 cards. That is so much better than just being in top deck mode. So let's see what we got. I've got nothing. So if this was a tutor, if this was Enlightened Tutor, then and I didn't see these cards, it would have been amazing, of course, but that's not the case. And this is a moment where I would love to have had at least one Astrolabe, just to be able to draw some extra cards, draw through the deck. And this way I feel like I should have lost already. This should be the end of the game, simply. There we go. All right. So even though they wastelanded us, it still felt like we were building up fairly okay. But then we kind of just, it kind of just bled out. And that was kind of a shame. It can happen, of course. Now let's see. So Dryad. They play, what is it called, Valakut? So it's a lot of direct damage. It's essentially a combo deck, right? But with a lot of ramp. Thought the Pyroblasts don't do a lot there. At least they're slow in the start, so that is definitely where I would want to bring in the Sylvan Library, and as well as the Veil of Summer. Veil of Summer is pretty good here. So brought in Veil of Summer, brought in Echoing Truths, because you get this interesting interaction, right? If they play lands or a couple of extra lands, and then you get these triggers on the stack, then you can bounce the Dryad, and then the triggers fizzle, right? So we put in the Echoing Truths, we put in the Veil of Summers, the Sylvan Library, and what else did we put? What else did we throw into the deck? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right. So they are combo deck. They are slow, but then they suddenly kill you, and you don't have any chance. It's a pretty good deck. Okay. So I like the Echoing Truth here. That's perfect. I like the Volcanic Island, even though again we could fall into the same trap as last time. Could have the same issue as last time. And then we're stuck. I'm not sure how many Wasteland they play. I also kind of debated adding lightning bolts for the oof, but that would be really the only target. I wouldn't be too happy with that. So we got the Echoing Truths really for that. Luckily they didn't have Wasteland, so now just going to make sure that we can find some artifacts and that we can start recurring some. Alright, so happy about that one. And we already found half of the combo. Let's start drawing some cards. And this is also pretty cool. So here, played Emery, got Astrolabe into the graveyard. Astrolabe into play, drew an extra card, had 1 mana floating, and now we can play the Welder with the Astrolabe. Decay. No, Chalice. Alright. Okay, Chalice. That's alright, because that is 1 turn wasted for them, and I can keep drawing cards with Astrolabe. So you'd almost forget that this is his turn 3 when you look at the board, right? Alright. This when they start doing things. So we need at least 5 other mountains. So one other card and then land, and one other land, and then when a land comes into play, you can start shooting things down. Okay. So here potentially we could do, if you want to be a bit destructive about these, can't be that, do that with this. These two don't really care about because you have Chalice of the Void. So here kind of the question is, right, do we want to keep Echoing Truth for Chalice of the Void? How important is that? At the moment, not that important. Or do you want to keep Echoing Truth for the Dryad so that we can start, that we can bounce it when I start doing things to try to get rid of my my creatures or whatever, and then we could essentially delay them a turn? Or do we just want to get back Lion's Eye Diamond, then get rid of these cards, get Citadel back into play? So here what we could do is, for example, bounce Chalice, because Chalice on one is a bit annoying with Citadel in play. Bounce that one, then get Lion's Eye Diamond into play, get extra mana, and then just swap Bolas the Citadel into play. Actually, think I missed that play. I wanted to wait one turn. Because I felt confident that I wasn't going to lose or get into an impossible position their next turn. So that would give me a little bit more breathing space. It's all because of the Echoing Truth. Alright. Okay, so now we have 2 triggers on the stack. Now we kind of just have to bounce the Dryad. Okay. So this just mostly means that they are tapped out, which is fine. And now we really should get onto the Bolas the Citadel. So I didn't play out the Taiga because I don't want to get landlocked with the Citadel. Alright, gets countered. We can play that. We can shuffle that away. Get a Brainstorm countered, get the Chalice countered. And then we can just play out the Engineer, find the Painter. Get in play and win. Alright, game 3. Going way too fast here, sorry. Wrong button. Alright, let's see. So with the Lion's Eye Diamond we potentially have a turn 2 Engineer, and we could even grab lands that would not get us wastelanded. So this is a way safer hand than the last ones. So they just play out the Dryads, tap out. They could of course have a Force of Vigor. No, I don't think they play that. Let's see. So get the Citadel into the graveyard, and then of course we want to sacrifice the Seed to sign it, simply because maybe we need the Lion's Eye Diamond for activating a Grindstone. Alright, Petal, Veil, Summer, perfect. So even if they have so we could even be protected here from Force of Vigor if we find the Painter. They don't do anything before that. So here we have the Rainforest on top, but we can still play Emery to get rid of those cards. Brainstorm, and then we find this. So let's play that out. And it's done. Beautiful. I love that. So that was 3. On to number 4. By the way, if I'm going too fast or too slow, or just let me know. Okay, interesting hand. Unknown opponent. Turn 1 Emery potential, also turn 1 engineer, but that's a little bit too self-destructive. But you could actually do that. No, you can't do that. Turn 2 engineer, and you could replay the petal. I would actually keep this. I know Realm Slayer would love this hand. He's so aggressive in playing hands out like this. Alright. Resolves, beautiful. Alright. Okay. Okay. So what are we playing against? Maverick, I think. Okay, so Oof could be an issue. The tomb is pretty cool here. Emery would just get bounced. Could play Oko. Could also play out 2 engineers. No, it's not worth it. I don't want to get rid of the pedal because then immediately I don't have any colored mana anymore. So that's why it's really best just to go with engineer and get the grindstone. Oh my, why did I do that? Okay. Next turn, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond. Get grindstone into play. So you have 2 floating. Tap another 2 Ancient Tomb. Activate grindstone, 1 mana floating. Activate engineer. And then you can get the painter in play. That checks out. They just should not get a wasteland or something like that. Balls to the walls. All right. 5 mana, still checks out. That was a beautiful draw. This is probably way too risky to keep this hand. But we're doing it. Was this smart or foolish? You tell me. Alright. So I actually didn't see. Yeah, I said Maverick, but it's way more likely that's actually Loam. I added in Echoing Truths because of that. Sylvan Library. That's actually pretty good card against them because usually they're pretty slow. We do want to get rid of their oofs, but we don't have that many other targets, so just focus on the Pyroblast. I didn't want to add these either because of possible Chalice. That's also why I took out Astrolabes there. So let's be faster than them. Alright. Tough hand. Got 2 combo pieces. Shouldn't keep this. Even on the draw. 1 land, no way to search. Oh man. Why did I keep this? This is such a bad idea. Chalice the Void on 0 is interesting because I didn't play anything out on 0. I didn't play... And maybe they expect Emery. Again, right? I just find it so difficult to realize that this is the deck that I'm playing against. And I'm just crazy lucky here. Wait, I'm not crazy lucky. Chalice the Void. I guess I'm tired today. Alright. He has a pretty slow start. And I just want to draw into a kill here. Also possible, yeah, so with Sylvan Library I can see and draw more cards. Then at the end of that next turn, if necessary, I could Echoing Truth, there's Chalice of the Void, and then actually play my cards out. But now I didn't play Emery because of course they could have Abrupt Decay or find that at some point. But at the moment I have the combo, so I first want to make sure that I can at least see some more cards. That's at least what I should do. There we go. Still the right play. Still the way it should be. So right now he doesn't have any other cards and no further card advantage. So this is just a beater now. Alright. Okay. Now the choice of not getting a red source is kind of biting us in the butt. So now it probably would make sense to, since they're on 1, to just get out the Emery so that in any case we'd be able to get the Painter Servant back as soon as possible. Because at the moment they are still slow. Alright, now it really starts getting interesting, bouncing the Chalice. So say we bounce the Chalice, our turn, play Painter, have Pyroblast up, able to combo out. Of course we can't have Pyroblast and Combo at the same time. Now let's see if they have anything that they want to get rid of. At least I'm threatening a kill now. So it's not really necessary to do anything, right? Still, end of turn we can Echoing Truth, they can kill something. So let's say they do something in response, we can still get Painter back with Emery. This is where you see that, you know, they're slow, we can slow down too, no problem. They want to kill Painter. It's not even... No, could just Pyroblast the Dryad here. But it's also wasting a card, do we really need to do that? Now, still 2 cards in hand, we can still bounce, replay Painter, combo off in the same turn if necessary. Wow. Targeting Grindstone. It's okay. Now, that's interesting. So even if he has DKs, this just means that, you know, I cannot counter the DK. With Welder, I can just get Painter back in play. No problem. Alright. This deck gets me every time that I'm just confused. What am I playing against? On to the last one, 4-0. Alright. Okay, so unknown opponent. We have 1 combo piece. We have Artifacted Cycle, Pyroblast, and Snaring Bridge. I kind of like this hand. It doesn't have any of the welders. That could be better, but it's not the worst. So here I play that Grindstone first because I just don't want to have that be countered. I want to have that one already in play, and see what they have. Gilded Goose. So then I'm expecting some kind of maybe Urza or just black Emery, like maybe some Emery, Oko, Strix deck, something like that. Definitely something brewery. Alright, so now it will be good to play out the Astrolabe to be able to get a Brainstorm and to be able to shuffle it away. So this kind of shows that they're playing a slower deck, meaning that we can take it a little bit slower as well. Alright. And I still have the possibility to Pyroblast and Oko, which is actually pretty important here, because that can really spin out of control. Okay, so I think we don't need the Ensnaring Bridge right now. The threats would be Oko, maybe an Urza, but we can counter those. So I'd rather have that than have this Ensnaring Bridge kind of rot in my hand. now we're able to get an extra card every other turn. Still have to brainstorm with the shuffle. Very happy about this. Noko. Alright. Now, because we don't have a shuffle anymore, we do have the grindstone, so we could get some in the graveyard. So that's actually also pretty okay. So if they don't cast anything interesting, we can just grindstone ourselves, and even otherwise we could. Alright. So even here I kind of have a lot of artifacts. I could just grindstone myself to pick up the pace a bit. Get rid of those useless cards. It's way more important to draw good cards than to keep that peto in play. There we go. Alright, so there's still 4 cards in hand. I really think they would have countered something if they had it. They would have countered my Pyroblast. So this is looking good for us. So let's just go for it. Ooh, did not expect that main deck. This one. So turn of delay. What are you gonna do in a turn of delay? No Oko on grindstone. So that's it. Game 2. Alright, so since they're a slow deck, they're a slow deck that plays black. So for me, first of all, that means that I want to take out the Emeries because they do give a lot of opportunity to get rid of cards that I actually want to keep. Maybe they play Surgical. I don't expect Surgical in this kind of deck, but these are easy cards to take out. Then because they are a slow deck, I would want to keep my Astrolabes in and then take these out. Could have also added in the Sylvan Library. That's actually something that is debatable that we kept that one out. The Lightning Bolts we do take in because we don't really see. Yeah, they could play Oof, of course, and just get rid of other creatures. They are a pretty creature-based deck, so it seems. So, and the Veils, of course, for Abrupt Decay and so forth. So let's see what we got. No lands. That's at least the easiest mulligan of the night. Then this, let's see. So we at least have a turn 1 play, turn 2 play, some redundancy. Actually, we'll probably get rid of Painter Servant here, or get rid of an Astrolabe here, have some redundancy there, and then move forward. Yeah. Why would you do that? What are you looking for? They play main phase, brainstorm there. That to me is a very strange play. I don't think they play anything that they could have followed up with. So here I just want to make sure that I draw everything I can before I would cast Brainstorm. And this is beautiful. Here we have already the pieces for combo possible. Okay, I don't really care about that. No Oko. Okay, Plague Engineer. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to use my mana next turn, and it's not going to be for Brainstorm. So I might as well brainstorm now to see what I already have. Actually, you don't really need to brainstorm there. So we could just Oko here to get to try to see if they would counter anything, to at least put the pressure on, have some counter pressure, and then we still have the Pyroblast open in case they cast Oko, because that's actually a pretty important one. Because I don't want to cast an Engineer just for them to next turn cast Oko if I would have been tapped out. So it's really bait right now. Perfect. I'm happy with that. I kind of debated getting Citadel there, but honestly, why not just go for the combo? They've already used a DK. Could have more, of course. Now I would expect Oko. What is this going to be? Huh. So I would expect, what would this be? An oof? You could get, I guess you could get a second Plague Engineer. Second Plague Engineer would immediately kill my Engineer. And would have a beater as well. That would be something to counter. And then the cast fail. They can definitely have it. They get a Reclamation Sage. That is interesting because that would just delay me for a turn is all. But we have the painter. Good point. Can't get a second Plague Engineer's green only. Right. And blue. It's also blue. But Green Sun Senate doesn't really care about that. That's actually an interesting one, right? With Green Sun Senate, you can also get any creature if you call green with painter. But that's a good point. I actually really would have expected the oof here. Thanks, Tired Papa. Smurf. So the Sage here was really just delaying this for a turn. That's all. let's see. What did it actually have? I don't see an oof. Missed opportunity there. Could also have gotten the ooze and just exiled my grindstone. That would have been a better play. Interesting. So, all in all, I think I got, this was the 5-0. I think I got really lucky here with the decks that I played against. Very funny plays either way, some very questionable mulligans, but sometimes I think it is good to just also kind of push and go for it. Sometimes you just kind of have to, because you tend to get into situations where otherwise you get punished for keeping a fair hand, so to say. Most important, what I really think in this is really to know when to go fast and when to go slow. So sometimes you see that the opponent has a pretty slow start. Just be patient. Even if you have the combo in play, just be patient and play it out with all the time in the world that you have. And if you can see that they're speeding up, you can also speed up and just kind of read what they have, what they could have in their hand, and then take it from there. But that was it for now, and I mean, let me know if there's any things that you see should completely have done differently, or which things should change in the deck. Any other thoughts? I'd be very happy to discuss it. I mean, this is just an amazing deck, and this is what it's all about, right? Just trying to have a lot of fun painting things. Then what I'm probably going to change for this deck for now is getting rid of this grindstone and getting rid of maybe a Tormod script and adding in surgicals, and I think I already did that here. Just adding in surgicals, which gives a little bit more of an edge against decks that play Uro, a little bit more of an edge against Tess, and see where we can take it from there. And then hopefully also at some point add a Karn into the main deck, because that's still a really good card. So until then, let me know what you think, and have a good day.